guys, it's me, Aliyah, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing amazing, and if you're not, I hope it gets better because you deserve it, because you're a good person, because you're watching this video. Anybody who watches my videos, automatically good person. I didn't make the rules, Jesus did. Sorry. This is a continuation about my video where I talked about everything I wish I knew before I went to college or applied, but this is like the information-based stuff, so like FAFSA, financial aid, types of degrees, stuff like that. Yeah, we're gonna get into it, the fun stuff. Now, if you're not an information-based person, don't worry, no problem. I have a bunch of other videos that you may or may not like down below in my description box and cards at the top of the screen that you can also click on the side. I've been doing YouTube for 5+ years and I still don't know what side the cards are on, but it's fine. If you're only here for certain timestamps, if you're only here for if you're only here for certain things, it'll be linked down below with timestamps. You can literally just click it or skip to that time. I'm not offended at all because this stuff can get boring and very snooze fest, so I don't even blame you for doing that. So let's go ahead and get into the stuff that they don't tell you about before applying/attending college. First things first, let's talk about applications and admissions. Favorite topic because they be skimming the out of y'all. So first things first, I want to talk about deadlines. When it comes to deadlines, it's kind of a complicated thing because there's so many different deadlines. A lot of people think that there's a universal thing with deadlines and it's just like, oh, this entire school's thing is due today. No. There's different applications and different deadlines for different time stamps of when you're going to get your application back, and let me explain. The main two application deadlines that I'm aware of are early decision and early action. Early decision is when you apply to a school and that is the school that you're absolutely going to. For example, Chapel Hill is a very popular one that is in my state, North Carolina, that a lot of people do early decision for. Now, early action is just a deadline that a lot of students do just so they can at least get their application in earlier. They can get their decision earlier. Let's say that the early action deadline is like November 15th. This means that you're guaranteed a response by like January 1st or January 31st. Hypothetical situation, but that's how it usually works. I personally did early action when I was a senior just because there was a lot of different schools that I was really considering. I had 3 major schools that I was going in between, and I just felt like I couldn't do the early decision because it's just, I didn't know what I was doing yet and I didn't know what I was signing up for yet, especially not knowing things such as financial aid, locations, my living situations at the time. You do get charged for college applications unless you have a fee waiver. Or you're doing applications during free app week. Free application week is usually a week in October in which a lot of schools, if not most of them, at least in North Carolina, waive these application fees for these colleges. Now, when I applied to UNC Greensboro, UNC Charlotte, and NC was free for me because it was free during app week. And here's a little heads up. Most HBCUs actually participate in free app week. So if you're interested in HBCUs, make sure you send your stuff in that week because I have friends that applied to nothing but HBCUs and they didn't have to pay a single thing. But you didn't hear from me. It all just depends on the school, but I see that there's a common thing that HBCUs do participate in this. And honestly, I don't blame them because the application thing is so dumb. In my opinion, it's so stupid. So some tips I want to give to you regarding college applications and admissions is, one, don't stress too much about SAT and ACT scores because half the time schools really just kind of brush past that and kind of look at like your resume that you built in high school and over time in your grade. It is good to have really good scores, and some schools actually do require you to submit either one, but that doesn't mean that it kind of makes or breaks your admission unless it's like a really prestigious school like Harvard or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And also, I would like to say that you do not have to write a cobblestone college application in order to get into college. You're already getting $1,000 of tuition. Who thinks you're gonna get hours for a stupid essay if I'm gonna get it anyway?
Cut the cameras.
I would only tell you to do a college essay if you don't have the best track record when it comes to grades and extracurriculars. So like if you have a kind of empty resume from high school, I would definitely recommend writing an essay because that kind of makes up for the lost things that, you know, you could have had on there but you didn't because, you know, life happens. I understand that. And if you do decide to write an essay because you just want to fill in the void or just because you just want to do the most, or maybe it's required, I don't know, it depends on the school. Definitely go ahead and get your essay looked over by the administrators of your college before it's due. So maybe like an English teacher at the school that you're going to. They give you constructive criticism and give you the best feedback in which you may need when it comes to that essay, okay? And just to piggyback off the free app week, once again, there's usually a free app week, not even usually, there's always a free app week during October. Like I said, is when a lot of schools waive their application fee, so make sure you see if the colleges that you're applying to, or at least some of them, maybe even one of them, save some money. Like, college applications are expensive, and you don't get that back if you don't get in. Kind of a fraud if you ask me. And just a little tip, when it comes to applying to college, my personal way of doing mine was picking 5 to 8 schools that you're interested in and then making a top/big 3. Your big 3 for college is your first choice, is your top choice, and your second choice is the one that you're like, okay, maybe I'll like this school. I like this school just a little bit less than the first one, but also love to go here. Then your third one is your safety school. I would also like to say, do not over apply to schools. What I mean of this is don't go apply to 100 schools. That's 1, a lot of money, and 2, a waste waste of your damn time. If you want cool points just to say that you got into a school, baby, just say that. But me coming from a communications major who's learning about ethics and stuff like that, it's not ethically correct to apply to this many schools, because let me tell you, you realistically can only go to one college at a time. Why are you applying to 100? If you apply to all these 100 schools and you get into every single one of them, you took somebody else's spot, and that could have been their dream school, but you just got into it to just say you got in. It's not smart. Don't do it, and just be mindful of the people around you. Humble yourself. And I would also recommend doing a ton of research on the schools that you're looking into applying to before you apply to anything, because it would suck if you apply to school and realize, damn, I don't even really like the information that they're giving here. My department's kind of ass. Like, the students here kind of hate it, and this is like a school a lot of people transfer out of. You need to do that information. Like, when you're researching schools, make sure you look to see how much financial aid they usually give people, the transfer rates, how many people actually graduate in programs, and specifically your program, just so you get like a gist and feel of what it's like, okay? Now, moving on to the next thing, college types. I'm gonna only talk about this for like 2 seconds because it's very, very, very simple. Now, there's 2 types of schools, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, but there's public schools, private schools. Private schools are just private schools. They have a better education, they're usually more expensive, and then public universities have a lower tuition, and their population is usually much higher than private. Now, me personally, just a little tip, if you're ever thinking about money, I definitely recommend everybody, and I mean everybody, to go to community college and get your gen ed classes out of the way. And honestly, this saves you so much money and time, and doesn't hold you to really anything when it comes to college, because if you're going to community colleges, which is typically a fraction of a 4-year university price, you're saving so much money, and you get to stay close to home. You're just going to your classes and getting the on, instead of having to do all this financial shenanigans that comes with 4 universities. Like I said, do your gen ed classes at community college, and then you could transfer over. Don't let nobody talk down on, oh, community colleges are bad, da, da, da. No, it's the same level of education. It's just the 4 years get to jack up the price because they're 4 years, babes. Community college, 4-year universities. Just a tip from a pro, just saying. Okay, now let's get into majors, minors, and degrees. A major is a specific subject that students decide to go in depth with, learning about what they can be applied to their future jobs, hobbies, and careers and interests and stuff like that, okay? And you might be wondering, okay, if that's a major, what's a minor? A minor is basically seen as like a mini major, but it's another area of study that doesn't require as many credits, if that makes sense. Like, say I'm a communications major and I require 120 credit hours and whatever that equates to classes in order to graduate with my bachelor's in communications. If I were to get a media studies minor, I probably wouldn't even have 60 credits for my media studies minor, because it's a minor. Now, they call it a minor because it's like major minor, like it's kind of a, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you get it. Now, the thing is, minors have to be paired with a major, so if you don't have a major, you have to pick a major first and then a minor, because a lot of people usually go into college with a major specifically, and then a minor just comes slowly after, which is what I'm doing. You know, it happens to the best of us. Before we get into certificates, I want to talk about degrees for a little bit, because it can be a little confusing. Typically provide a general education, multiple subjects first, and then kind of a deeper but still kind of shallow dive in the area of the major, if that makes any sense at all. So basically, when it comes to a major, when you're getting your degree, you usually have about 2 years of general ed classes that you have to take before you can really go into your major based classes. Comes with this, there's many different types of degrees. We have associate's degrees, bachelor's, master's, doctorates. You know, the associates are 2 years, bachelor's 4 years, master's 6 years, doctorate's 8 years. And depending on what you want to do with your life, that really depends on what degree is made for you. And if you're saying, well, college isn't for me, I don't want to do all this bullshit, that's why certificates exist, okay? It's just like a paper saying, you know how to do this, and this is where you learn how to do it. Skincare specialists, estheticians, they go to school for that. There's cosmetology students who study with hair, so they know how to do hair, nails, skin, the whole freaking 9, okay? And usually when it comes to certificates, they're really applied to one job compared to degrees, where degrees can give you kind of like a big field of options, but certificates have usually a very specific field. So when it comes to a degree, you can say, oh, I have my degree in history, and then you get to decide what you want to do with that degree. But when it comes to a certificate, you kind of have your job handed to you, if that makes any sense. I really hope this is making sense. Now that the majors, minors, and degrees and certificates is done, let's get into financials, which is the part that they really did not tell me. Once again, if I'm looking at this a lot, babe, it's a lot of information. First thing I want to talk about is financial aid and tuition. Now, if you don't know what financial aid is literally just finances that are helped to aid the student that is attending university pay for their university experience. Now, when it comes to paying for college, there's this thing called cost of attendance and tuition. Now, when I was applying, I got these two mixed up because they're two totally different things. Tuition is how much much it costs for you to be in your classes. That's all tuition is. Cost of attendance is the total amount for everything. I'm talking dorming, textbooks, meal plans, commuting, school supplies, your classes. That's all everything. So tuition is your classes. Cost of attendance is everything. This is how I remember it. Tuition to class. Cost of attendance, cost of being there. Now, when it comes to financial aid, there's many different ways that you can get aid, such as FAFSA, scholarships, grants, which I'll be talking about. But I will first want to talk about FAFSA, because if you haven't already, here's to my college students, if you're watching this, file your damn FAFSA. The deadline's coming up. Don't know what FAFSA is. FAFSA is Federal Student Financial Aid, and it has to be filled out every single year, because basically what the FAFSA does is look at whoever's paying for your college experience. They look at their tax bracket. Based on that, that's how much aid they know they're going to give you, or give you like an estimate, if that makes sense. Usually the website crashes the day it opens, so I don't recommend anybody do that shit the day of, because it's just a hot ass mess. I definitely recommend waiting a few days or a few weeks, because either way you're going to get your amount, but it doesn't really matter. The sooner you do it, the better, but just don't do it the day of, okay? Like I said, it gives you an estimate of how much you're going to be paying, but this is called your FTC, so they give you an estimate of how much you will be paying for school. You know, they don't really tell you how much aid they give you, they just tell you the estimate of what you'll be paying based off whoever's taxes that it looked at, okay? Basically, what you do is take the cost of attendance minus the FTC, which is how much you would be paying, and that's the estimate of how much financial aid you'll get. FTC was about $14,000 last year, when I filed. This year, I don't know what it is, because I haven't filed yet. Now, like I said before, there's more ways to get financial aid, because FAFSA can be very stingy. There was actually a TikTok about how you can get more financial aid from FAFSA, and it's really sad that we even have to resort to this, but I'm just gonna let the TikTok play.
The only way to not use your parents' income on FAFSA is to become an independent student. There is one that you can do. So in the summer before my first year of college, my friend and I got married. I was 17 and she was 18. After we both got married, we were both declared independent students, and our FAFSAs only went off of our own income. And because we were children with no income, we got a lot of aid.
Who wants to marry me for more financial aid? Now, scholarships and grants are these things given to you by whoever you get them from. It could be universities, businesses. FAFSA gives out grants and scholarships. It all just depends on your income. And these are things that you do not have to pay back. It's kind of amazing. So basically, it's like free money for being a good person, a good student. And this is why you can go to school, because you don't have to pay this back. It's really easy. You just apply this to your college experience and this and that third, you know, whatever. Given through your school, FAFSA, outside sources such as businesses and churches. There are scholarships everywhere, but because there's scholarships everywhere, there's people applying for them everywhere. So me telling you this, I want to tell you right now, I didn't get any scholarships. The only money, like financial aid I got, was a need-based grant for this year, and it's really small. It's like $3,000 for the whole year. You have to look for the good scholarships and the legit scholarships, so I definitely recommend looking at schools, churches, businesses, stuff like that, because they love giving kids scholarships, but you just have to look in the right places. Now, if you're one of those people who are seeing, oh my god, the student loan debt is literally through the roof, this is where that comes from. Student loans. Student loans are basically money loaned to a student or the person paying for a student's university experience, and they have to pay it back. Now, there's two types of loans: subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Subsidized loans are usually for undergrad students, and unsubsidized are for undergrad and graduates. Now, I don't know which one it is, but one of them you don't get as much interest back. But what the issue is when it comes to loans, you have to pay these back, but there's interest attached to it. So when it comes to loans, if there's interest attached to something, you're paying back the amount that they gave you on top of extra money that they're charging you because they gave you the loan. At the end of the day, when you're paying back your loan, you're paying back your loan on top of a couple $100 or $1,000, because that's just how they do it. That's how they make their money, right? It goes up a lot if you don't have many other options, so I definitely recommend staying away from loans as a whole. Now, moving on to one of the last topics, which is campus life and student living. So the first thing I want to talk about is dorming. Everybody knows about the dorming experience in college. There's a lot of vlogs out there, dorm tours, move-in days, da-da-da-da. What they don't tell you is how expensive dorms are and how freshmen always get the bottom of the barrel when it comes to dorming. Freshmen usually get the worst dorms for the experience. They're like, ooh, they're new, they're just happy to be here, they won't care where they're living. Just a warning, they're probably gonna put you in the trap house dorms, okay? What dorms are literally on-campus living. When it comes to freshmen, I know a lot of them have communal bathrooms, which means that the floor or hallway usually shares a big bathroom with shower stalls, toilet stalls, sinks, the whole freaking nine. Now, when you move up in college, these definitely do improve, because as you go up there, you can get like suites, which is where you don't have to share one, and you get your own personal private bathroom. But usually freshmen get the communal bathrooms with at least one roommate. So when you take a shower, you have to go wear your shower shoes, you gotta bring a shower caddy, all the shenanigans. Moving on to eating and meal plans. Cafeteria food is kind of shitty. Now, I say this because they really gas up the food when you are on your college tour, and then you get there and it's like, is this even the same place that you showed me before? I is this similar in any way? I definitely recommend you look at your meal plan options because the prices do vary. Usually if you're a freshman, you are limited to very, very, very little meal plan just because they want to scam your money out of you. And when it comes to meal plans, you literally have to get one if you're living on campus because you can't starve. College student, you barely have any money, you might as well get a meal plan. You can pay it off, right? That's how they get you. Me personally, when it comes to deciding if you're gonna live on or off campus, just know if you live off campus, there's probably definitely some apartments that are sponsored by the school and their rent is probably very, very, very cheap. But if you do decide to do that, you either need to have somebody pay your rent or you have a job outside of school, which can become very, 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 very stressful for a college student. So something I want to talk about in here is cars, because a lot of people don't talk about cars when it comes to college. Now, if you don't know this, when it comes to personal transportation, let's say you have your license and you want to bring your car to campus, not all schools allow you to bring your car to campus if you are a freshman. I don't think people talk about how damn expensive parking passes are for college students. Why is a commuter parking pass $333? Not having a car in college is literally one of the worst things in the world. But it just makes it so hard just to have plans outside of school because nobody wants to pay for Uber. Half the time students can't pay for Uber because they don't have any money. College students never have any damn money. So just some last minute tips from me. I definitely want to say when it comes to touring, ask students about going to school, not the tour guide, because they're literally given a guide, like an outline of what they have to show you and tell you based upon the campus. So literally ask students or alumni what it was like for them or what is like for them. So like the food, what's dorming like, professors, how's the campus set up, how's the events, how's the clubs, the whole freaking nine. I love a good college tour, but baby, y'all gotta be more honest, and y'all not being honest for real, and I don't like that. That don't sit right with me. So I like to tell you firsthand, when it comes to applying to classes, so once you get into college, congratulations if you got in. Hello, I'm proud of you. And if you don't want to go to college, that, go do something else with your life. You don't need no college. But if you do get into college and you're applying for classes, I do not recommend going over 12 to 15 credits unless you don't want to have a social life. 12 to 15 credits is about 4 to 5 classes because classes are average about 3 credits, right? Me, I have 15 credits this semester. I wanted to. If you want to get through your degree faster, be my guest about taking more classes a semester. That's totally on you. That's your money. That's your decision. But if you want to have like this outside life, I say do minimum 4 classes. I feel like that's a good thing. I'm taking 4 classes next semester. I don't want to overwhelm myself again. Simple. If we're talking about picking classes, I definitely recommend using Rate My Professor. I say this literally every time I have a video about college. Literally, Rate My Professor is my best friend. You go on there, you find the professors, you can look up their name at the institution they're at and see the ratings that people gave them from previous students and things like that. Definitely recommend looking at the newest ones or from the previous semester so you get the most accurate and most recent information. When it comes to college professors, they all teach differently. They all have different workloads. They do not network like they do in high school and middle school. They just kind of go with the freaking flow, and nobody tells you until you're there and you're miserable and you're 12 weeks in and you want to drop the class, and if you don't drop it, you're gonna fail, but you can't withdraw without getting your money back. And also, if you drop a class in the middle of the semester, if it's past the deadline of dropping classes, you can't get your money back for it. Would you rather do all that or just look at Rate My Professor? And honestly, if a teacher isn't on Rate My Professor, I don't trust it. So I don't apply. I don't enroll with teachers in classes who aren't on Rate My Professor. Because what you not on Rate My Professor for? What you hiding for? What are you hiding from? Here's my first world opinion. I recommend you going to college or / in college to switch to digital note taking if you possibly can. And let me tell you why. When it comes to college students, people always ask me what computer they should get for a college experience, so about 4 years of school, and I never tell them a laptop. I tell them to get an iPad. An iPad can literally be turned into a mini computer with a little keyboard extension, a little Apple Pencil. You have a notebook and a laptop in one device. It's honestly amazing. And when you have digital devices, you can literally carry little to nothing. And if you're worried about pricing, there's places such as Best Buy. Apple even has student discounts. You just have to look up the Apple Education Store. And when it comes to saving money, imagine how many school supplies that you've bought in your lifetime. But when it comes to these and iPads and stuff like that, you save a lot of money and you're saving the environment because it's a one-time purchase. You can pay it off slowly, and things like this are durable for life. You can use it after college. You can resell it if you want to, but your money, not mine. You need to study what you want to study. If your parents want you to be a doctor but you want to be a dance major, be a dance major. If your parents want you to be a lawyer but you want to go into art, go into art. Because who's gonna be the one to be dealing with the jobs, the careers, the interviews? So you need to enjoy what the you're doing, okay? I said what I said. And with that being said, that is it for today's video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please get a huge thumbs up down below, and while you're on there, make sure you subscribe. I know this video is probably not going to be seen by a lot of you, but the people who did watch it, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope this helped you so much. Follow my socials so you can keep up with my new videos, and just whenever I have video ideas and questions for you guys, make sure you guys just follow me there so you can see everything to my Instagrams, Twitter, TikTok. You can follow me on Spotify for new playlists and stuff like that. It's kind of a good time. With that being said, guys, hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Stay cool. Bye, guys.